What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Hope you guys have had a great weekend. Merry late Christmas. In case I didn't wish it to you already, I hope you enjoyed the time with your friends, your family, your loved ones, just anybody that's special in your life. Welcome to yet another episode of Monday Evening Quarterback, and this is the final episode of Monday Evening Quarterback for the year 2021. It's been fun. I'm so happy that I decided to come up with this concept. My name is Christian Simpson, and I am the creator, the founder, and the NFL slash college football analyst of a company called the Daily Blitz, where we specialize in everything football 24/7, 365. Almost got my numbers mixed up right there. Have a lot to talk about today, but first, if this is your first time tuning into me, welcome. Um, thank those who referred you to me and those who have been following along from the get go. Welcome back. Hope you're doing well, and most importantly, I hope everybody's staying safe with all these numbers going up. It's getting a little scary out there, but man, let's talk a little foosball. As one of my guys who I used to contribute for used to say, the college football playoff is here. Literally, it begins. Well, it's not here technically, but it starts this week. It starts on Friday. Two really good games. I'm going to talk about that, give a little breakdown of both of those. Going to talk about what caught my eye in week 16, the wildness that is the updated playoff picture in both the AFC and the NFC. I'm going to give out a game ball. I'm going to take some questions. Don't have any phone calls today, so hopefully we'll get back to that very soon. I want to thank everybody who's been a caller on Monday Evening Quarterback throughout the season. It's greatly appreciated, and I'm going to give out a game ball, and we're going to end the show. I'll promote how you can keep up with me and all that good stuff, but let's dive right into it. College football playoff. This is year 8 of the college football playoff, and a team who's been no stranger to this stage is back again. I'm talking about the number 1 seed on the bracket. That's the Alabama Crimson Tide. They will be playing the number 4 seed and making their playoff debut. This is the first time that a non-Power 5 school made the playoffs, and that is the Cincinnati Bearcats. But let's look at this matchup. So Cincinnati, they're not afraid of anybody, and that shows. They have 2 really impressive wins this year on the schedule. One against the Indiana Hoosiers when they were somewhat relevant. Man, Bloomington is a tough place to go get a win. Let's just put it that way. I've seen Ohio State struggle there for years and years. Then you have the win against not the Alabama Crimson Tide. That's who they're about to play. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I think that's what's real. That is what really stood out to the committee. That's a big win for them to get a win in South Bend. It's another tough place to play on the road against the then number 9 ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish team. And I mean, they punched Notre Dame in the mouth that day. I actually got the chance to preview that one, and even I didn't see Cincinnati beating Notre Dame. But yeah, they can give teams a lot of problems because they move the football in different ways down the field. They can run it with Jerome Ford, but the catalyst of this entire offense is Desmond Ritter. He can move the pocket. He can make throws from the pocket. Has a powerful arm. It's almost like a flick of the wrist for him. He can do a lot. He can make things happen with his feet, and this offense truly goes through him. In other words, they're not here without him. And like I said about Jerome Ford, he's a downhill runner, and he actually played for Alabama, so I know he's going to come in with a chip on his shoulder. Defensively, these are a lot of players who were coached under Marcus Freeman, and they've really carried over his philosophy even without him being there anymore, as he's now the head coach of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, replacing Brian Kelly, who went to the University of LSU to take on their head coaching job. This team is anchored by their secondary, and it starts with 2 guys. They have the best duo of cover corners, arguably in college football. That is Ahmad Sauce Gardner, and look, you cannot have a nickname like that and not have game. Sauce, that's his nickname. And I think what impresses me the most about Ahmad is when he covers, he does everything on an island. It's all him. It's not help over the top. He can just do it all by himself. And the other guy, his name is Kobe Bryant. That's actually his name, but he doesn't spell it like the late great Hall of Fame basketball player. He spells it Coby, and his last name is Bryant. He can cover on the other end. So Alabama's going to be seeing two really good cover corners. There's no John Mechie III. He's arguably been Alabama's best wide receiver this year. He unfortunately tore his ACL on December 4th, which was the SEC championship game against the Georgia Bulldogs. So now Jameson Williams becomes the number one option for Bryce Young. I look at Alabama. They're almost in a little bit of the same predicament that they were in last year. You lost Jalen Waddle to an injury. He would end up coming back for the national title game, a move that a lot of people were strongly against, but he ended up going out on top because he won a national championship, and then he was the 6th overall pick in the NFL draft to the Miami Dolphins this past spring. There's no John. Jameson steps in, and it was just like last year with Devontae Smith, and look at what he went on to do. He ended up winning the Heisman. So this offense is going to be built, in my opinion, around two guys. That is Brian Robinson and Jameson Williams, and the catalyst for their offense just happens to be a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback by the name of Bryce Young. He has been absolutely automatic this year. I still remember watching him in that first game against the Miami Hurricanes. I just said to myself, this kid is special. He might be the best quarterback that they've had. Look, Tua was good. Jalen Hurts, he was good. Mac Jones last year was good, but Bryce, he's electric, and he just makes it look effortless. Reminds me a lot of a bigger version of Russell Wilson. He makes it look effortless. Like I said, he can. It's a flick of the wrist with him. It's just the way he passes. But I look at his pocket presence, and I look at how, to be so young, how he can navigate the entire field and his field vision and everything. And when pressure's coming, he knows how to step up. He's not really a mobile guy. He can move, but he relies on mobility second. So with that being said, this is going to be a fun one. I don't think Cincinnati's going to get blown out like a lot of people are anticipating it. I think they can make things interesting, but Alabama will pull away. They're the more experienced team, and that's going to show. That's what I think is going to help them. I previewed this one on Friday. I'm not telling you who I have winning the game. You're just going to have to wait until Thursday, actually, is when I drop this preview. I already wrote it. Got my title, as you guys know, what I like to do. So that's one. Let's talk about the other one. I think this is the one everybody has been looking forward to. That is the number 3 ranked Georgia Bulldogs against the number 2 ranked Michigan Wolverines. Now Georgia, I see coming into this game with a lot of anger, because the last time we saw them, they were on the end of their first loss of the year. Now, let's admit, they were able to dominate I guess you can call it a cupcake schedule. The toughest opponent I feel they played was Clemson, but nobody knew what Clemson was going to be after that game. And Clemson actually played them the toughest outside of Alabama, if you want to be realistic. Held them to 10 points, kept the game within 7, and ended up losing that game. But yeah, Georgia, they were able to dominate. They were able to run teams over, and that defense, some that people were calling the The best ever. I didn't go that far, but it was definitely one of the best I had seen, maybe since that 2011 Alabama team that won their second national title under Nick Saban. Let's talk about Georgia's offense because Stetson Bennett, he's really improved compared to last year. I think, he was thrown in the fire and really didn't have a guy to navigate himself through that fire because the pandemic and COVID-19 just really threw everything off. But a full year under his belt, and he has a little bit more command and control of the offense now. It's been a lot of fun to watch him. And when I think of Georgia, two things come to mind when I think of their offense. One, they always have a strong offensive line that can dominate the trenches. And two, they want to run the football. A lot of big names have gone to Georgia and played there. Herschel Walker, Terrell Davis, he's a Pro Football Hall of Famer now. Todd Gurley, Nick Chubb, who became one of the best running backs in the NFL. Now he is. Sony Michel, he won a Super Bowl in New England his rookie year. And now he's playing for the Los Angeles Rams. And they have two good ones now. James Cook, who's actually the brother of Minnesota Vikings running back Dalvin Cook, and Zamir White. I get Clinton Portis vibes when I watch Zamir play because he's a hard runner, hard yet smooth runner. He can bounce outside the tackles. He can run it in between the tackles. He can do a little bit of everything, and he can catch the ball out the backfield. This Georgia defense, I really want to see how they bounce back. And I think the weakness of this defense is their secondary. You look at their secondary, they were exposed against Georgia. I mean, Georgia wasn't able to really do much of anything. Alabama stretched the field left and right, up and down, and Georgia had no answer for it. That front seven couldn't get home, so let's see if they can get that angry streak again, the Georgia Bulldogs. And Michigan. They're finally here, man. They're finally a playoff team. They've won the Big Ten East. They got that monkey off their back by beating Ohio State. They won the Big Ten Conference Championship with a thrashing of the Iowa Hawkeyes, and they're finally here. They're hot. They're playing with a lot of confidence right now, and they feel, look, line anyone up against us and we can beat them. And those are the teams that are normally the tough outs. I look at Jim Harbaugh and Kirby Smart. Both these coaches kind of have similarities because Jim, at one time, the knock on him was he can't beat Ohio State. Now he has. But the knock on Kirby has been he can't beat Alabama. His former boss, Nick Saban. So that's something to look out for. You're going to hear that a lot on Friday, I feel, whether it's on College Game Day or during the broadcast of the actual game. But when I look at Michigan, their bread and butter this year has been running the football. They have the best duo of running backs in the country in Blake Corum and Hassan Haskins. Haskins, what a day he had against Ohio State, running for 5 touchdowns. And they finally got back to their bread and butter, which is running the football and playing good defense. The defense has been one of the best in the country this year compared to last year where they really struggled. They made changes. And here they are, back nationally as one of the best in the country. I see this being a hard-hitting and physical football game. I think it's going to come down to who can run the ball more consistently, who can bottle up the other team's run, and who's more of a threat to score in the red zone, because both these teams haven't been that great when it's come to red zone opportunities on a football field. Can't wait to get my hands on that one too. That game's going to be played in Miami Gardens, Florida at the Orange Bowl. Cincinnati and Alabama will be played at Jerry World, the Cotton Bowl in Arlington, Texas, home of the Dallas Cowboys. It's playoff time. We'll start with 4. Only 2 can punch their tickets to Indianapolis. That's all I have on that. And let's move on to the NFL. So it was week 16 of the NFL. After tonight, we'll have 2 more weeks. I'm so used to this being the final week of the NFL season. But remember, they extended the schedule to 18 games this year, so they added one more game, and here we are. So my biggest takeaway from yesterday was the Buffalo Bills. So a couple of weeks ago, they played the New England Patriots. The elements are truly a factor, and New England just ran the football down their throat, and Mac Jones only threw the ball to the tune of 3 times. But 2 weeks later, you gave Buffalo and you gave Sean McDermott a chance to game plan, and they were able to execute. The one problem I had with Buffalo in the first meeting against New England was they were too conservative. They weren't aggressive enough, and when you play a team like the Patriots, you can't be conservative because that plays right into their hands and what they want to do. And man, I just love what Buffalo did defensively. They were able to bottle up the run, put the game in the hands of Mac Jones, similar to how the Indianapolis Colts did it just last Saturday. And offensively, Josh Allen, he was picking his spots all day long. There was no Gabriel Davis as he was in COVID protocol, same with Cole Beasley, but they got Emmanuel Sanders. And how about Isaiah McKenzie? He really stepped up and really became that consistent number 2 option yesterday for Josh Allen. You know what you're going to get from Stephon Diggs. He scored and had a couple of choice words for a couple of Patriot fans, but I'm sure they were heckling him because I just don't see Stephon telling fans of the other team what he did. There's no way. I know for a fact he was probably being heckled. Yeah, this is a huge win for Buffalo, and it gives them a lot of confidence moving forward. They now retake control of the AFC East after a 33-21 win over the New England Patriots. That's 2 wins in a row now. New England has dropped 2 in a row, and if Buffalo wins out, they win the AFC East because they have more head-to-head tiebreakers over New England right now. They own 1 over New England, and then they have the tiebreakers over the Miami Dolphins. Miami beat New England earlier in the year, and I know they have a matchup coming up in the next couple of weeks. Another game I want to talk about, the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the last time these two teams played, Baltimore was punched in the mouth. Cincinnati, I guess that was their coming out party of some sorts, because Cincinnati was 5-2 at that point. After that win, and they went into Baltimore, a team who really had their number the last couple of years, and just punched the Cincinnati Bengals. Punched the Baltimore Ravens in the mouth. So what was the case going to be this Sunday? Cincinnati got back on track with a win over Denver. Now, what was the case? No Lamar Jackson. He's still bothered by that lingering ankle injury. No Tyler Huntley, who had been looking pretty good for them as of late because he's had to fill in, but he was out due to COVID-19. He unfortunately tested positive for COVID-19. So that left just one guy. They were able to get a veteran, and Josh Johnson, 35-year-old Josh Johnson, to be their starter. And things looked like they were kind of off to a good start for Baltimore early on in that game, but I knew one thing was going to catch up to them, as it has all year long, and that's been their pass defense. Look, they've been decimated with injuries in that secondary all year long. Again, there's no Marcus Peters. Deshaun Elliott's out for the year. Marlon Humphrey is also out for the year with a shoulder injury. Joe Burrow. So let's talk about Joe Burrow. Excuse me. Let's talk about Joe Burrow really quickly, because Baltimore's defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale, said last week prior to Baltimore playing Green Bay that Davante Adams is the best or one of the two best wide receivers in the National Football League. I can't remember what he said word for word, verbatim, but he said that, and then he said, we can already put a gold jacket on Aaron Rodgers, talking about the Pro Football Hall of Fame gold jacket. We're not doing that yet for Joe Burrow. The worst thing you can do in this league is give a team or a player bulletin board material, because they will use that as motivation. And boy, did Joe Burrow use it as motivation yesterday. Had the game of his life, 37-46, 504 yards. You know what? We're going to check. Yeah, let's check what Burrow's stats were exactly, because I want to make sure I'm giving you the right numbers. Yeah, he went 37-46, 525 yards, averaged 14 yards per pass attempt, and 4 touchdowns. And he was only sacked 3 times. And you might as well just say it now. He was getting my game ball today, so I got that out the way. But he was just locked in, and you can't sit here and tell me that he was not motivated after hearing those comments. And he was just able to spread the football around against a Ravens defense that's normally pretty good, but their secondary has just been absolutely atrocious. And if their front 7 isn't getting home to the quarterback, then there's a problem. Colts won again. They're hot. I think this is the biggest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC, who I'm going to get into very shortly. The Colts continue to run the football. Everybody wants to say Carson Wentz isn't good. He doesn't have to be that great in order for the Colts to succeed. They run the football. Just saying. And they have a defense that's fast. They can set the edge. And they have a defense who can get those takeaways when it's necessary. So there's that. Arizona continues to reel. Just a couple of weeks ago, Arizona was at the top of the NFC playoff picture, but they've lost 3 in a row now, including a loss to the lowly Detroit Lions, which I'm still shaking my head at. Yeah, so the Colts were able to keep it moving, and believe it or not, they're still in the hunt for the division title. Tennessee looked a little shaky as of late, but here they are. How about the Packers? Now, coming into the game, Aaron Rodgers needed 1 touchdown to break Brett Favre's record of touchdown passes thrown in Green Bay Packers history, and he did do it. Everybody can call Aaron Rodgers Brett Favre's successor, but Aaron has made a name for himself. He has over 400 touchdown passes in his career, the 3 MVPs, the Super Bowl ring. He's a lead pipe lock for the Hall of Fame whenever he decides to call it a career. They got all they could handle from Cleveland, but in the end, it was just too much Green Bay. Green Bay ended up winning that game on Christmas Day by a score of 24-22. Baker Mayfield threw 4 interceptions. I think it's time for Cleveland to move on from him, because they're just not getting it done with him. Baker is a little too consistently inconsistent for my liking, and that's all I've been seeing the last couple of games from him, and for most of the season. One minute he's good, next minute he's not, and he's not getting paid. He's not going to get Josh Allen money. I think Lamar Jackson's going to get paid, and the reason why I bring those two up alongside Baker is because Josh and Baker and Lamar all were draft classmates, the class of 2018. So Cleveland, their playoff chances are really hanging on by a thread right now. Green Bay, they're 12-3. They're at the top of the NFC, and Matt LaFleur made history. He becomes the first coach in NFL history to win 12 games in his first 3 years. Now, let's see what he does playoff time. What he's done in the regular season has been great, but let's see what he can do playoff time. But one guy I want to really talk about and discuss is, how about Rasul Douglas? Started with the Arizona Cardinals. He gets that pick against the Arizona Cardinals when the Packers and Cardinals played back in October. And ever since then, he's really emerged as the Packers' best defensive player. There's been no Jair Alexander. Rasul's just really made plays for this team, and he just knows where to be at the right time to make a play, and he can't do anything but love and respect that. I wish I could give him votes for Defensive Player of the Year because he rightfully deserves it, but he didn't play enough this year. Yeah, he's really been a difference maker for the Packers defense. Can't wait to see how they use him, even when Jair Alexander does come back from that injury. Yeah, the Packers are expected to get a couple of guys back. David Bakhtiari, he'll seal up that offensive line. Randall Cobb is just another piece for Aaron for that offense, and then Jair Alexander for the defense. Some other things that caught my eye yesterday in Week 16, the Bears went on the road in Seattle and got a huge win. I think this is going to be the last we're going to see of Russell Wilson in a Seahawks uniform. He doesn't look happy there. I think Seattle just needs to break this thing up. Get rid of Pete Carroll. Relieve him of his duties. I think it's time. They have to go younger now. Get a younger head coach. Trade Russell Wilson. Get a ton of draft picks. And start from scratch. It's time. It really is. The Bears won that game yesterday by a score of 25-24. But let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. They came in yesterday, winners of 7 in a row, top seed in the AFC at this moment, meaning the road to SoFi in the AFC would travel through Arrowhead, which I think a lot of people expected, but didn't think we'd be here at this point. They were playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, so it was the second and probably final time that Ben Roethlisberger and Patrick Mahomes were going to play. They met in 2018. That was their first meeting. And Kansas City, you wondered how they were going to be without Travis Kelce. Tyreek Hill was back, but it was the others that really opened this game up for the Chiefs. And I'll say this, when the Chiefs are running that football and they're running it downhill, they're a scary team. We know their defense has really been the catalyst of this winning streak, but their offense is slowly but surely starting to come around. I look at Mahomes, close to a perfect day at the office. He was just able to pick his spots and kind of control things, and most importantly, he took care of the ball. I think that was the biggest takeaway. Chris Jones was back, and you see how much of a difference he makes. The Chiefs' defense, they were all over Ben Roethlisberger, which really isn't that difficult to do. Chiefs won this game by a score of 36-10, and with the 26-point victory, they were able to win the AFC West for the 6th time in a row, becoming the first team to win 6 straight division titles in that division, in the history of that division, which is the AFC West. They're 11-4 right now. Have a huge game on Sunday against the Cincinnati Bengals. First meeting between Burrow and Mahomes. That's one I will be previewing, or as my guy David On Point Hoffman likes to say, shameless plug. How about the Cowboys? Now, coming into the game, I was a little worried about them because they were struggling offensively. Let's put it that way. They were not. They didn't look to be gelling or clicking with one another. Last night, I don't know what that was from Washington besides Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne getting into it on the sidelines. Dallas was just clicking. They were able to run the football, protect Dak. Dak had 4 touchdown passes. He was pretty locked in, and I think they sat him for the fourth quarter. They were up by 35 at one point, so there was no need to play him. The Cowboys did win the NFC East for the first time since 2018 with a 42-point victory over the Washington football team. Almost said their former name, but I caught myself. Dallas, 11-4. This is a team that could give some teams problems, but I will say this. I have a feeling we're going to get that legendary matchup once again in the playoffs between Dak Prescott and Aaron Rodgers. I think we're going to see the Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers go at it. I would love to see it because every time those two teams play, they always have some memorable moments. You think of the Dez Bryant game where he had a catch and they overturned it. That was a catch, by the way. I'm just going to be honest here. I'm still mad about that. That was almost 7 years ago. You think of that playoff game in 2017 when Aaron Rodgers literally flushed the ball, flushed himself to the left side of the pocket, and just threw a dart to Jared Cook. And Jared Cook did the Michael Jackson Thriller pose to stay in bounds. And yeah, it's just a historic game between the two because a lot of iconic Hall of Fame players have coached and played for these franchises. So it always gives you something to look forward to. I just have a feeling we're going to see that. The Rams are really clicking right now because they're running the football and Odell looks comfortable. That's been the issue. You know, he hasn't looked settled in no matter where he's gone. When he was with the Giants, he was playing with an Eli Manning whose arm was pretty much shot, and Eli at that time was way past his prime, right? Cleveland, everybody wants to say it's his fault, but look at how much Baker's struggling, even without Odell Beckham. But he and Matthew Stafford are really becoming a nice duo. He's really emerged as the number 2 option for Stafford behind Cooper Kupp, who's having a phenomenal year. I think Cooper deserves to be an MVP candidate. But yeah, the Rams had to grind that game out yesterday against Minnesota. Minnesota, they've been in basically in a majority of all their games this year, but have just always fallen on the short end of the stick. Yeah, the Rams are in first place in that division with Arizona on their little schneid right now. I look at Stafford, he's taking much better care of the ball. Yeah, he's taking much better care of the ball as of late, and that's going to be key for them. And they're running the football. I think that's the biggest key to everything. They're able to establish a ground game. The offensive line's able to get that push up front, and that opens up the rest of the passing game for the Rams in that offense. Let's see if I have any questions today because, you know, I did put it out on social media, and let's see. Alright, so I put it on Facebook. I didn't get any. Now we're going to check Instagram. But, yeah. I think I pretty much covered just about everything that I wanted to cover for the show today. I think it's going to be more of a full show come next week when I have the college football playoff to recap and week 17 to recap and a look ahead to a national championship in Indianapolis and a look ahead to week 18, what's on the line, because the playoff picture will be formed by next Sunday night just about, or Monday morning to say the least. But I'm going to end the show right there. I always have a lot of fun recording it. This was the final one of 2021. Thank you guys for always tuning in to support. Huge shout out to my family, my amazing mother. Love her so much. My mom is my everything. I'm not here without her. My dad, love you very much. My sister Taylor, love you. Always proud of you. Always proud of my family. My son, better known as my dog, Siebes. My other siblings, Sean and Janice, always supporting. My other friends, Robert Butler, Jason Tyree, Kamel Fryer, Candace Carter, some of my other friends, Corey Harris, Deshaun Elliott, Rob Carter, Mike Griffin, my guy AB, Alex Bennett, my other guy Alex as well. My co-analyst, the guy that I've been fortunate to work with and discuss this game of football with for the last 3 years or so, Cole Johnson. Make sure you check his stuff out on Cole Sports on YouTube. Our moderator D, he really keeps us on our toes. just give a shout out to everybody who's been supporting me through the good times and the bad. I truly appreciate you. How can you keep up with me? Log on to the website, which is thedailyblitz.blog, and become a subscriber today. So anything that's posted on the website, you will get it to your inbox. Um, Follow us on Instagram, which is at the Daily Blitz _61. Like the Facebook fan page, facebook.com/the Daily Blitz, and follow us on Twitter at Daily Blitz _61. As far as how you can keep up with me on the radio, you can check me out obviously on Monday Evening Quarterback every Monday, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is the Daily Blitz. Right in a couple of minutes, I'm about to go record The Prime with David Hoffman, TJ Hopkins, Israel Rivera, and Matt James. You can keep up with me there every Monday and Tuesday. I'll be on those shows every Wednesday. You can catch me on The Nerd Zone with Ronnie Kumpf, John Danzo, Ryan Shaw, and Christopher Lawrence every Friday. You can catch me on College Football Showdown with Israel Rivera, Matt James, and when he wants to show up, TJ Hopkins. And Sundays, you can catch me on WCPT 820 AM on the Sports Cubicle with Michelangelo Mercado, Devin Tingle, Professor Buckets, better known as Paul Shavari. And if you live outside the state of Illinois but want to tune in to support, let me know. I will gladly send you the link. Go get you some merchandise. The link to my merchandise shop on cafepress.com is pinned at the top of my Twitter page. Go get you some merchandise and take pictures of it and send it to me. You guys want to be phone callers on the show, email me at c.simpson@thedailyblitz.blog, and I will get back to you, whether it's in a day or two, but I will not leave you high and dry. I will make sure that you get a response. God willing, I will be back here next Monday. Enjoy Monday Night Football tonight. Miami Dolphins, New Orleans Saints. I think Miami gets them. The Saints, they played a hell of a game last week in shutting down Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but this is an offense in Miami. They've been clicking, and they can match the Saints defensively, hit for hit, turnover for turnover, and sack for sack. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I like the Saints in this one. I mean, not the Saints. I like the Dolphins in this one. Ian Book is expected to get his first start. The former Notre Dame quarterback finally getting a taste of the NFL. The Saints quarterback room has been decimated. Jameis Winston's out with a torn ACL. Both Taysom Hill and Trevor Siemian each tested positive for COVID, so they're on a COVID-19 reserve list. Ironically, the Saints did reach out to two veteran quarterbacks, Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees, and both of them said no. We're both enjoying retirement. I guess Drew did give it a thought, but he said no. Kind of don't blame him, because he's not really able to make those throws, as he said. But I do like the Dolphins. I like them to get a win and keep it moving and make things a little bit more interesting. So if they win tonight, they will move in to one of the 7 spots in the AFC playoff picture due to their head-to-head win over the Baltimore Ravens. That is all I have for today. Like I said, God willing, I will be back here next Monday night. Finish the year off on a positive. Can't wait to see what you all accomplish to end this year and the start of next year. Happy New Year from myself to you, and I will see you soon.